Hello, everybody. Good evening. My name is Purnima, and I welcome you all to this session on transaction analysis. So, can all of you unmute and say hi and confirm that you're able to hear me and see the presentation?
Hi, yes. Hi. Is it audible?
Yes, it is
Yes.
audible. It is audible.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
Hi, ma'am. Hi.
Hello, welcome. So, welcome all of you on board over here. Thank you so much for addressing and thank you so much for responding. Today, for the next 1 hour, we are going to be exploring a lot on transaction analysis. So, before we go ahead and start this program, I understand how many of y'all here are from psychology background? Anybody from psychology background? Okay, so I understand all of you are exploring this certification new or this program new. So before we even get started on this topic, I would want to understand, what do you all understand by the word transaction? What does the word transaction mean to you? Wonderful. It's an interaction. Yes, nicely said, Irene. It is an interaction between people. It is an interaction. A transaction is nothing but it is a Okay, I get more answers here. Correct. It's an exchange of something. It's a give and take of something. Very well said. Wonderful, all of you. Just a minute. Sorry, people. Okay, sorry, I'm back. So today we will understand in depth about, as psychologists, why is transaction analysis important for us, and why should we even do a transaction analysis? So when you all complete your course, complete your certification, and start practicing psychology, the basic cases you get would be coming with you with a problem. Okay, I have this problem. I have I'm facing this difficulty. I need help with this. I need help with that. And it is important for us as psychologists to understand where the underlying problem is. And to understand that underlying problem is, we will have to have a lot of exchange, that both with the client and also to understand that how the client is exchanging the information between each other. Okay, so that would be the core of transaction analysis. So I would invite all of you to feel free to unmute and ask your questions if you have any. You do not have to wait until the end. And somebody who is typing in Malayalam, I am so sorry, but I do not understand Malayalam. If you can translate that into English, I would be glad to read it. Thank you. Going forward. So, what would we be understanding today? What is the purpose of transaction analysis? First is decoding human interaction. So, when you see, that yes, a lot of time, when there are relationship issues, it could be relationship issues in their office, it could be relationship issues at their home, it could be couple counseling, it could be marital counseling or family counseling. So most of them are related between human interactions. So if we are able to understand how, the human interactions go on either in the family or at the workplace or between people who are in a relationship, we will be able to help them further with where their acute issue is. So transaction analysis also helps us in enhancing emotional intelligence. So what is emotional intelligence? Anybody of you all have any idea? Any of your thoughts on what is Emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence. Okay, so all of us understand that, we have emotions. Humans are made of emotions, and we have varied level of emotions, rainbow. So these emotions are not right or wrong. Any emotion is just an emotion, and that is what we practice even in psychology, right? When we say, when people face emotions, emotions is for every, emotions are not something which is right or wrong. Correct. So, what is emotional intelligence? How can we intelligently emote? Is it possible? Do we have it in our control? No. Emotions come to us. We do not have it in control. So, what do? Is we show that emotions intelligently. Okay. Feeling angry is an emotion. Feeling upset is an emotion. But when you throw things around, will that be an intelligent display of your emotion? It wouldn't be. What would be an intelligent display of your emotion? That is, go out, separate yourself from that space, calm down a little, take deep breaths, and then once you're physically calm, then think about a solution, or think about what to do next, and go and address it. That way, you're saving that relationship. Yeah. So that is the meaning of emotional intelligence. So moving forward, more than emotional intelligence, what is the next purpose? Is conflict resolution. So as I told you, majorly our clients come to us because they face a lot of conflicts. And TA is a very good way of resolution of conflicts, because it understands two parties, the transaction or the exchange between two parties, and it tries to give a complementary solution between the two parties. Okay, this way it is much, much helpful when it comes to relationships and empowering personal growth. So, when you are able to communicate yourself, when you are able to express yourself clearly to others, okay, then what happens? Your relationships improve. So people will feel that, oh, it is great, that this it is nice talking to this person, or it is nice that, this person understands, they're non-judgmental. I can go and I can talk about any problem. This person will not come and say that, oh, see what happened, kind of judgmental talks will not come. So I am comfortable in talking to each other. So that is personal growth. Okay. Apart from that, do you see any kind of advantages for practicing transaction analysis? Please feel free to write it down in the chat, but we will be moving forward to the next slide. Okay. So what we would be talking is, ego states. So a lot of us have heard the word ego. And for somebody who, studied psychology, we understand that the word ego is not used in the right way, right? Ego is the state of equilibrium for a lot of us. But for others, ego means pride and, selfish expression or selfish behavior. They call it as ego. However, we have to be more intelligent when we have to understand what is ego states. Okay, so there are typically three ego states. One is the parent ego, the adult ego, and the child ego state. In the parent ego state, imagine yourself that you are a parent and you are addressing children. Okay, so it includes behaviors which you have learned from people who you have been seeing from your children. For example, we say that, okay, when we want to establish a rule in our family, or if we want to establish a kind of pattern in our family, what do? We generally take example of our parents. Okay, my father said this rule that we can't go out after 7:30, or you should come back after 7:30. It's a rule set by your father. Eventually, the something which you will be practicing with your son also, or a rule set by your father, that, okay, no TV while watch, no watching TV while eating. So these are some things, some behaviors, or these are some beliefs which are carried from parents. So those thoughts or those patterns which we resonate with our parents or with the parent figures in our life, they constitute the ego state. Okay. So in this parents also, there are two types of parents. Okay. One is a nurturing parent and a critical parent. For a girl, they keep on saying, right? If it's a girl child, yeah, she's the father's princess. And like, they call mama's boy. So why do we call, when we say it's a father's princess, it's like, the daughter is very comfortable with the father. So the father is a nurturing type. And like, oh my God, my father is too strict. But everything I have, I go and I tell my mom. So mom is the nurturing type. End of the day, both are doing parenting, but one is doing a nurturing parenting while other person is doing the critical parenting. Okay. So second one is the adult. So when you come to adult, if you once you grow out from your teenagers and you become an adult, you are called as an adult or you're treated as an adult because you're more rational and objective. So what happens is, you are not any more childish. So if you have to talk in the psychological language, your ego is balancing between your id and your super ego. So when that stage of that balance or that equilibrium is coming between id, ego, and super ego, then you are in adult ego stage, wherein you are more objective oriented and like you're more data driven or fact driven. For example, like somebody says, "Oh, the black cat has passed. It's wrong." Like you don't go now, don't start now. Wait, sit down for some time. So if you're in a childish mode, say, "Oh, I don't believe all these things. Come on, I'm going." Okay. Or if you are in a parent mode, you say, I understand, like, okay, let us wait. So if you're an adult and you want to have a conversation, say that, see, I understand your circumstance or I understand your superstition. However, I do not follow superstitions. So I would like to go. Okay. So that is a way an adult answers, which is logic based and data driven. Over here, the person is not disrespecting the other's view. That is, he's not disrespecting that the other person is following the superstition. However, very subtly and very gently saying that, yes, you are following it, but I do not believe in it. So I would prefer to go. Right? So that is the adult ego state wherein the balance is there. And when it comes to the child ego state, it is more emotional and like, it is more like a response. It's not even a response, it's a reaction kind of thing. So when it is a thought out process, it is a response. But when it is not thought out and it suddenly comes out, it's a reaction. For example, like, what happens, somebody takes remote from your hand. Oh my God, why did you take the remote? I'm watching the show. You should not take the remote from my hand. So what happens is that's a spontaneous behavior. So this is adapted from these reactions you give when you're in the child ego stage. They're adapted from whatever experiences you have been having since childhood as a child. Okay. So any questions or do you want to understand anything better about the ego states? Please feel free to ask. Okay, I take it that silence means that all of you are able to understand and that you intend for me to move forward. Okay, so now we will get into the basics of what are the types of transactions. Okay, so anybody on what are the different types of transactions? Any idea? Okay, so I get a question about general and contextual meaning of an ego. So, taking out of the transaction, generally in a mental state, like, in a psychological language, when you talk about ego is something which is a mental state, which is very balanced and which will give you the idea of what is right and what you should be doing according to the situation. So, am I clear, or this is the direction you wanted to ask? Because your question can, I would like to understand your question better. Okay, you want to understand more about the child ego. Okay, According to psychology, ego is nothing but a balance. Okay, it is nothing but instant gratification. I'll go a little into that detail and I'll tell you. So it is it is a state of mind which is instant gratification. So generally, when you see children who are under 1 year or 2 years, they do not think about what is it. They do not think about what is the consequence of their behavior, and they do that behavior because they get instant gratification. So such kind of behavior is called as a dominated, that is a dominated behavior. And the next type of behavior is called the superego, which is more about conscience. So if you see, generally we say that it is more childish, a behavior where it is childlike, wherein you are not thinking about what next, what is the consequences. You're only giving it your basic instincts and you're only giving it your desires. And when it comes to the super ego part of it, what happens is it is more of moral values, conscience, what is right for me, what is right for others, what is right for the society. You think beyond yourself. That is super ego. And ego over here we call is the manager, or the middle person in between, who will balance both of them, because neither it is wrong nor super ego is wrong. So ego is something which will balance when it is needed and when super ego is needed. For example, you go out and you want to have an ice cream. So that having that instant gratification, or having that desire fulfilled is okay, because now you're a grown up adult, and you understand that you can have an ice cream. So your ego says, okay, now you win, because it's okay to have an ice cream. Okay. Similarly, you're getting late to office, and instead of driving at 60, you're driving at 90. Okay. Or because it's a new car and you want to explore it, you're driving in 90 because of instead of you're driving in 60. Then your ego comes and says, okay boss, now you are not going to instantly gratify your it, because it is dangerous for your health. Not only for your health, even for other person's health it is not good. So you better calm down. So the ego is nothing but it will manage the urges, that is for your instant gratification, and for your conscience and your and your social consciousness, which is super ego. Are we clear about ego? In short, it is the I part of you. Ego is nothing but the I part of you, the you part, who will be managing both of them. So I hope the ego part is clear. If I have to come to the child ego over here, so what happens is children, as I told you, are more focused on the it part, that is the instant gratification, and they are more emotional. For them, emotional intelligence does not come because there is no consequence, or they do not understand consequence, unless the consequence is so strong that they feel the brunt of the consequence. Generally, some children do not understand that conscience, the concept of conscience or the concept of morals and all. They're too small, or their cognition has not reached to a stage wherein they understand it. So what do? They just go ahead and they emotionally react. You are having a chocolate and says, no, you can't eat another chocolate. I take the chocolate away from your hand. What will a child do? He will cry. That is a display of emotion which he does. Right? So similarly, I'll give you a small example of even child ego. So the boss says, just imagine you are in office and the boss says, say, we have to complete this report urgently. Today evening, you sit and complete this. And you say, why are you telling me? Am I the only person who gets to do all these things? The other people can nicely go. Why am I the only person who has to do this? So when it leads to this kind of conversation, what happens? That is a childish reaction. Okay. So if you have to talk about it in an adult fashion, that see, boss, I would really love, I mean, I really want to go ahead and complete this work. However, I have to go home because I already have a prior commitment. So I will not be able to do it today. Can I do it tomorrow? So when you talk in that format, then you are in that adult mode, wherein you are in control of your emotion. Still, you are very unhappy that you are having to stay late on work. So that's when you are in control of your emotion. You are not displaying your anger. Instead, you're using a nice subtle tone where you're balancing your emotion and talking to him. Okay, so I used to get a lot of questions when people say, so Kunima, is it are we going to act like, saying that is everything going to be all right? No, we are not going to act. That is not acting. So that is where we practice this emotional intelligence. That is, calm down a little, take a deep breath, calm down. Okay, look at your options. Can you stay late and work today? If yes, say that, okay, boss, I will work a little late today, but it is only for today. I cannot keep doing it regularly. Okay. And if you cannot work, say that I really want to work and I want to finish. However, I have a prior commitment. You came and told me right now, so I cannot accommodate right now. So that is an adult transaction. So this is how, like, the child works. So instead of being in the child state, if you'll have to reply in the adult state, this is how you reply. Any questions, any doubts about this? Can we move forward on transaction types? Okay, great. So next, let's move about transaction types. Sorry. So there are three types of transactions. One is a complementary transaction, wherein the expected response is received. For example, let's say, like, you want to go out for a movie. Okay, and you are asking your dad, like, I want to go out for a movie. Can I go? And your dad says, okay, because tomorrow is a Sunday, I'm allowing you to go today, go. Okay. So though it is a critical parenting word which the father used, that okay, anyways, tomorrow is Sunday, so I'm allowing you to go. So, like, you can, that is still a complementary transaction because it is smooth. You asked, your father allowed, so it's a smooth transaction. So it is the expected response. So if the father is a critical, if it's a father is a nurturing parent, he will say, okay, beta, I understand you've been studying all the week, so you go, beta, no problem, तुम चले जाओ, लेकिन ना be careful, like, आराम से, when you come home, like, make sure that you eat something, you drink something, come home and enjoy your movie with your friends. Here, go take 100. That is more of a nurturing parent. Okay, so both sides, the complementary, either it's a nurturing parent or it's a clean, or it's a critical parent, the transaction is becoming complementary. So generally, a parent and a child transaction, if it is this way, goes in a complementary fashion. Okay. Cross transactions are something wherein the responses are unexpected and the responses, like, that is, they lead to communication breakdown. Generally, like, they do not, the communication from there becomes very tough for both the parties. Okay. So if, for example, in office, there are two colleagues and one colleague says, okay, do you know where the file is on the computer? And this, I can't see it. And the other person says, why are you always asking me? It's your file. And if even if you misplace anything, do you ask me? So what is happening is, like, the second person could be under stress, or it could be his instant reaction, or it could be his past experience. It could be whatever. But that is when he's reacting like that. So when the first person is asking in an adult mode, the second person is reacting in the child mode, right? So when the person is reacting in the child mode, what happens? The other person is like, I only asked a question about if he found the file. If it have said yes or no, it would have been enough. Why should he give me such an emotion? Why should he talk to me like this? So next time, like, he'll be very uncomfortable talking to you. So this will lead to a misunderstanding or a conflict. So these kind of transactions are called cross transactions, wherein the responses come from an unexpected ego state and the communication breakdown generally happens. And the last is ulterior transactions. Ulterior transactions are hidden transactions. Okay. So what is ulterior transaction is what you say, what you see is not what you get. That is, at surface level, while talking, I have one meaning, but underneath I have one meaning. It is something like read between lines, or like, ulterior transactions are sarcastic messages. Ha. If we say, like, just like a mother-in-law and daughter-in-law story, like, she says, okay, mommy, can, like, a mother-in-law, can, I and my husband would want to go for a movie. Is it okay? So she says, ha, go. If I will not allow you, will you stop or what? Go. So what is happening there? That sarcasm is playing a role. So with her words, she's saying go, but somewhere at her, like, at the use of her words, or at the use of her tone, there is sarcasm which is coming, or there is an unhappiness which is coming. So what happens is the other person does not know, okay, is my mother-in-law happy? Does she want me to go or doesn't she want me to go? Okay. Similarly, your boss also, you ask a permission. You say, okay, boss, I want to take a leave because it's my friend's marriage. So he says, okay, like, generally correct. You're right. It is an ambiguity which gets created. So what happens is he says, okay, like, I want to go for a marriage. And the boss says, okay, but like, generally we only give leaves for your own marriage. But you want 3 days for somebody else's marriage. Fine. Like, you get your own consequences. You can go. You will have, like, we'll talk about it later. So now the employee is at question over here. Did my boss agree happily or not? Or like, did he say it casually or not? So over here plays a body language also. So in ulterior transactions, even body language is more important because people convey a lot using body language also. So in ulterior transactions, what you have to understand is two messages at once, one at surface level and one beneath the surface, that is inside level. So these are ulterior transactions. So now you tell me what type of transactions are better. Complementary transactions, cross transactions, ulterior transactions. You can type also, I don't mind. Great. Complementary transactions are always better because there is a question and there is an answer. See, sometimes cross transactions are also better because that shows a kind of misunderstanding, or that shows that there is a conflict, but at least that conflict is coming to the surface. But when it comes to ulterior transactions, what happens is you do not know the reality of the transaction, if it is becoming a complementary transaction or it is becoming a cross transaction. Okay, so I am so sorry again, like, somebody who is typing in Malayalam, I'm not able to understand. If you would require anything from my end, kindly type it in English and I would address it for you. Thank you. So now, with this transaction, the third one, or the important component of transaction analysis, is life positions. In what positions are we there when it comes to our life positions? So what are the main positions over here? One is like, I am okay and you're okay. That is win-win situation. Both of us are happy. Okay, where in that relationship there is mutual respect and there is balance in relationships. Excuse me, just a second, I'm getting a cough. Okay, so I'm extremely sorry. The season. So yes. So when it comes to life positions, transaction analysis, it identifies in which life position are we. Okay, so there are basically four positions. Okay, so first one is I am okay and you are okay. Okay, that is a healthy position. There is, as I said, like, mutual respect, collaboration and balance, and trust is formed. Okay, Sultana, yes, you can go ahead. You can unmute and answer that person.
Sorry, ma'am, to interrupt the class.
No
Mr.
problem.
Kamalakannan, நீங்க இருக்கீங்கன்னா இது கேளுங்க. இது ஆக்சுவலி இங்கிலீஷ் கிளாஸ். தமிழ் கிளாஸ்க்கு ரபிக் சார் வந்து போடும்போது தமிழ்ல தான் கிளாஸஸ் நடக்கும். நீங்க திருப்பி திருப்பி நீங்க தமிழ்ல மெசேஜ் போட்டுட்டே இருந்தீங்கன்னா கிளாஸும் டிஸ்டர்ப் ஆகும், கொஞ்சம் ஒரு டைவர்ஷன் கிடைக்கும். இது தமிழ் கிளாஸ் இல்ல, இங்கிலீஷ் கிளாஸ். இங்கிலீஷ் லெக்சர் மட்டும் தான் நடக்கும். தேங்க்யூ மேம்.
Thank you so much for helping out, Sultana. Okay, so when you are in this position that I am okay and you are okay, that is the most positive life position, wherein you see progress in a relationship or progress in the transactions. So over here, you make the other person feel worthy. capable, and also visible. That is, you see that, yes, I see your emotions. I am okay with your emotions, right? So that is where, we go for this. I am okay, you are okay. Okay. So this is a very healthy position. For example, we can take an example and say, okay, a team member comes and they give a feedback, I made a mistake, and because of my mistake, I see that even you have faced a lot of things, or you have you are undergoing a lot of things. My mistake, I made a mistake in making this report, so that's why even your report has a mistake. So, let us, I'm not able to understand the scoring. Can we both sit together and, redo that scoring so that both of our reports get corrected? So, what is happening is a mistake has happened. That is, a wrong scoring happened. So, one's report, just imagine, one person is a speech therapist and one person is a psychologist. So, the psychologist made a mistake and he has given a score wrong. So, obviously, the speech therapist has taken the report from the psychologist and he's also given a wrong interpretation. So now, the client is questioning. So what happens, the psychologist, he can nicely go and say, if when I'm okay, you're a position, what he can do is say, see, I am, I'm so sorry that this mistake happened from my end. And I really feel sad for it. Or I'm really very sad. I don't know how this counting mistake happened. But is it can we both sit together and can we just sort it out so that we'll put both our reports out together? And personally, it'll also make your report better. So what happens is that is the person is acknowledging that, okay, the mistake is mine, first of all. And the second one is with respect, instead of saying, I don't know, my report is right, I don't know what is wrong with your report, you should look at your report. Instead of saying that, with mutual respect, he's saying that let us fix it together. That is, collaborate together to make it right. Okay, what happens over here is the other person is getting a chance to give this person that benefit of doubt, yeah, that this is not intentional and this is a mistake, wherein communication can keep flowing. Okay. So if the other person knows it, they say, okay, yeah, I'll help you. We can do it together. If the other person knows it, says, I'm so sorry, I don't know how to do it. Maybe you'll have to figure it out by yourself. Either ways, it is still a complementary transaction, because whatever this person wanted to convey, they have conveyed in an adult to adult transaction. Okay. You're very right. The right attitude and assertive attitude, assertive communication. It's assertive communication in itself is a whole topic. However, you're right. If we have to do transactional analysis, we will have transaction, complementary transactions will have to be quite assertive. Okay. So that is your first position, which is the happiest position. The next life positions are negative life positions, which is I am okay, you're not okay. Okay, that is feeling that I am right in my place, but you're not right. This shows superiority, and this also undermines the other person's self-esteem and sometimes your own self-esteem. See, generally when we start defending ourselves, even without without being assertive, what happens is somewhere we have that subconsciously we feel guilty, or we have that loss of confidence when we feel that maybe or may not be. Okay, so that is the position of I am okay and you are not okay. So, very simple. Myself is fine, you are not fine. First one is both of us are fine, it is a mistake. The second one is I am fine, you are not fine. Okay. The third one is I am okay and you are not okay. Okay. So, which means shifting towards more self confidence and sorry. Second one is I'm okay and you're okay. I think this got done 2 times. Okay, so I'm so sorry about this confusion on the slide. However, the first one is I am okay, you're okay. The second one is I am okay, you're not okay, where the self is fine and other is flawed. The third one is I am not okay, you are okay. That means my self-esteem is quite low, or my self-image is quite low, right? So, does anybody know what is this concept about self-image? How do you get that self-esteem or that self-image? That is what you think Correct. You're conscious, like, you are very, like, you are not very sure, like your self image is very low compared to your self. What you think about yourself could be very low than what you are actually. Okay, that is where your confidence lowers, and that is when says, okay, like, that I am not okay and you are okay. And finally, when, like, the last and the not okay stages, I am not okay and you are also not okay. Okay, that is nobody is good. So it's like, hopelessness when all of them fail. So over here, what happens is, in the first one, when I am okay, you are okay, kind of like, both of us, that is win-win situation comes. That is, I win, you win. Let's collaborate together and do. There will be growth. It's like, let's solve this together. Okay. When it comes to I am okay, you are not okay, it's like, you are useless. I will do it myself. There a conflict situation arises. When it says, like, I am not okay, you are okay, it's like, I can't do it, you are the smarter one. There your insecurity gets displayed, and when that insecurity gets displayed, it will indirectly affect the psyche. Like, it will indirectly even affect the opportunities or the further transactions we have. And last but not the least, like, nothing matters. Like, you also don't know, I also don't know. This project is going to go gutters. You also don't know how to score whisk, and I also don't know how to score whisk. Like, it has gone to gutters unnecessarily. Like, so that will create hopelessness. So it is growth, win-win situation. If okay and okay, it is growth. If I am okay, you are not okay, it is conflict. If I am not okay, you are okay, it is insecurity. If both are not okay, it is hopelessness. Okay. So any questions? Anything that you want to know more? Great. So finally, our purpose, how do we achieve complementary transactions? What can help us in achieving the complementary transactions? First, identify your ego state before talking. So it is not always that, like, the adult is always right, or the child is always right, or the parent is always right. Every time, one of them can be right, or one, or like, you will have to take that note. For example, like, in your group of your friends are there, and like, all of them want to go swimming in chilling water. You say, okay, nobody is going to go ahead and swim in this water. Tomorrow we have a big expedition, and if you catch cold, if you are not able to present, it will become an unnecessary problem to the whole team. So nobody is going to go. So what are you doing? Though it is your friends, you're taking the parenting mode. Okay. And you're taking the parenting mode, and like, you are trying to talk to the team. So, like, is it only necessary that I take a parent mode? No, you can also take an adult mode and you can talk. You can take a child mode and you can talk. But over here, this transaction will be successful when you take a parenting mode. Because, like, at that point of time, when everybody is in that childish happiness mode, what happens is, rather than an adult, a parent will be a better person who can, like, bring the child to that level where they can understand. The second one is, you have to match your ego state with the other person's ego state. Okay. So if see how that other person is talking. Are they using the parent language? Are they using the child language? Are they using the adult language? Okay. So if somebody is talking to you in an adult format, talk to them in an adult format. If somebody is speaking to you in a nurturing parent format, you can reply in the child format. Okay. The third and the important thing is staying calm and rational. Okay. So avoid reacting. Reactions always cause a problem for us, right? So when we react, what happens is, like, we do not think, but we speak. That is reaction. But when what is response? Response is, I think and then I speak. So that is response. So when you think and speak, that is response for you. When you think without speaking, that is reaction for you. So when you react, it generally causes cross transactions. But when you stay calm and when you respond quietly, then it will have more chances of having a complementary transaction. Always can it be a complementary transaction? No, not necessarily. If the other person is not in the same tone, even if you try for it to be a like, complementary transaction, it need not be. However, we have to try it out from our end. And most importantly is be clear. Okay, whatever is the fact, state the fact. Okay, so and also state the fact wherein, like, where in a way where people can take it or people can understand it, instead of having what you call hidden messages, like, why don't you do this, or for example, like, I think all of us, I think we should go out because, like, uh, it is end of semester. So instead of that, you can directly say that I think, yeah, our semester is ending. Let's have fun. Let's all go out. So what happens is, like, when be clear and be direct when you're stating some facts. Okay. It is not about emotions or it is not about decisions, but mostly when you're stating facts, when you're stating logic, when you're stating objectives to another person, you have to be more direct. For example, like, you see, instead of saying, you never help me. Okay, you always do your own things. You never help me. You don't even think about me. Or, like, the wife will say to the husband, yeah, you only think about your parents. You don't think about me, or my parents are this, or nothing will happen. You only think about your parents. Instead of saying that, you say that, see, like, I understand they are your parents, but, like, I want you to even think from my end. And similarly, like, when they say, like, see, like, I know, like, that you have things to do or things to study, but I need help in my assignment. So can you do it? So what happens is you are asking in an adult to adult format. Always best choice, as we said, adult to adult. That is more assertive, more clear, more direct, without any hidden messages. Will give you a positive transaction. That is a complementary transaction. And when you use a positive body language, like, giving that direct eye to eye contact when you talk to somebody and keeping on nodding, okay, and using the calm tone, what happens is you're letting the other person open up to you. You're letting the other person talk to you, wherein you're building trust and you're building confidence in that other person, so that the other person is comfortable enough to relay the message, whatever they want to tell you in face. Just imagine I am an interviewer and you came for an interview. Okay, please sit down. Tell me about your name. What have you studied? Tell me, you have 1 minute. What happens? Okay, so the other person, irrespective of what they have, what their capabilities are, they are nervous, they get nervous. And when you're nervous, there are chances that you make mistakes. But rather, when you try to communicate in a way wherein you say that, okay, like, very nice or welcome, good morning. It's nice to have you here. Can you please tell me about yourself, or can you please talk to me about yourself in next 1 minute? Then what happens? The other person is not as much tensed as before. Interview makes everybody tense. That's a different story. But at least you are not, like, the person is not scared, right? So when the person is not scared, when the factor of nervousness is gone, the person will be able to express. So similarly, like, when you are, even when somebody comes to you with a problem, when you immediately go and say, oh, what happened? Come on, tell me. You don't worry. I am here. Whatever it is, no problem. I will take care. Da, da, da. Look at your tone, look at your pace, look at your body language. Like, say, okay, don't worry, I'm here with you. Have a cup of water and, like, sit down peacefully. If we can talk, or do you want to cry for some time? Do you want me to give you some space? So when you create that kind of positive space, when you keep maintaining that tone, the other person will feel free to speak to you. And when the other person is speaking to you, when you keep nodding, give them the eye contact in a calm tone, that person will be able to communicate with you. So what happens is always a positive body language will help the other person calm down, so that whatever they want to say, they will communicate in a better way. Okay. I hope this is clear. Any questions, you can feel free to ask. Okay. Moving forward. So what have we studied today, or what have we seen today? Majorly, we saw about why is transaction analysis important. The importance of transaction analysis is to make sure that, like, our communication in our day-to-day life go well, and we are able to understand, like, how to communicate with each other, in a positive way. And we have looked at different ego states. That is the parent ego state, which comes from, the inner parental beliefs in you. And then the adult ego state, which comes from a lot of logic, objectivity, and assertiveness, and a child state, which is more emotional and reactional. And then we've come to understand different transaction types. One is complementary, that is when two people communicate and when a positive result comes, or when whatever the first person says, the other person understands the intention of the first person, then that is called a complementary transaction. That is a successful transaction. And when the communication lines break down because of a transaction, it is called cross transaction. And when the intention of the transaction is different than the intention of the communication is different than the communication exactly happening, it is called the ulterior transaction. And then we've moved towards life positions. What that is, negative life positions and positive life positions. The negative life position is I'm not okay, you are not okay. And the positive life positions are I am okay, you are okay, I am not okay, you are okay, and I am okay, you are not okay. Okay. And finally, we have seen how to achieve complementary transactions. Now, I will leave the stage to you for each of you to uh, feel free and let me know about what, if you have any questions, you have any doubts, or you would like to understand anything more about transaction analysis. Or even in that case, any topic which you feel that, which you would want to understand further about, why is this important, or what kind of transactions, or any examples you want, you can feel free to go ahead and ask me. Yes, transaction analysis is a part of psychotherapy. So it is a part of counseling skills, especially when it comes to, counseling, marital counseling, relationship counseling, or when it comes to solution focused counseling. We use transaction analysis to make sure that the person, whoever is communicating with the other person, is having more complementary reactions or complementary transactions rather than cross transactions, to get his understanding right. So yes, it is a part of psychotherapy. Any other questions, please? Okay, so I'll again tell you, sorry, should we have to make the client understand about that? What understand about transaction analysis? Okay, so when you explain to them in the word of transaction, they might not understand. So, like when we have been discussing this, come for us, it's a successful transaction if a communication is happening. And to enable the communication to happen, the person should have that communication skills. And another topic which is very related to this part and in psychotherapy is assertive communication, wherein now today we learned about different states of egos. Then we will see how assertive communication can convert from one ego state to another ego state. You do not have to explain the parent, child, adult, but you can explain them how objective oriented communication, how objective oriented speaking, or how assertive speaking can help them. Okay, you can say, for example, let us take a relationship counseling itself. We just went through a case study about a mother-in-law and a daughter-in-law. Okay, so we'll just take the same transaction. The daughter-in-law goes ahead and she asks the mother-in-law that, okay, mom-in-law, can we go for a movie? And then the mom-in-law says, ha, go. Even if I say don't go, will you wait? It's okay, go. Then obviously that's a cross transaction. So now, how how will you help the daughter-in-law? The daughter-in-law will come and say, see, this is what my mother-in-law is saying, and I don't know what to do. So, I want us to have a good relationship. So what should I be doing? So instead of explaining to her how transaction analysis work, what you should work is you should help her in understanding how this ulterior transactions work. So you say that, see, first you will have to help her in understanding that, see, your mother-in-law, though she is telling you that she wants you to go, her body language, her facial expressions, and her choice of words say that she is not very unhappy. So then what you do is then you focus on the solution, what you can do. That is to make a cross transaction, a complementary transaction. What you do? You do an adult to adult talk. So you try to become the adult. Say, okay, mom, I understand that, you want us to be happy, but I also know at the same time you might be feeling left out, or is it because you need some help at home? If you tell me, what you're not very comfortable about, we will, let us talk about it so that we both can be on the same page. Okay. So what happens is, maybe the first time or the second time, the mother-in-law might not want to say, she says, no, 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 nothing like that, nothing like that. But consistently, if the daughter-in-law says that, I would want to understand your situation, I want to make you feel better, so you tell me how I can make you feel better. Then she says, see, you people are going out and I'm all left alone here, lonely. And you people are going at 6 o'clock show, you'll come back at 9 o'clock. So, I'll be very, and by that time, nobody is around and I feel lonely. I'm from a village and this is a city. So then you will understand that end of the day, her intention is not, she used an ulterior intention because of her insecurity. So what do? You say that, I understand, mom. Now that we have booked tickets for this show, we will go from next time onwards. We will make sure that we either take you with us if you're interested, or if you're not very interested in the movie, we will make sure that we will book it on weekends in the morning so that you do not feel alone. So there you have sorted out. So you have changed that transaction. When you counsel your client about this, what are you using? This is again when you're telling this to your client, when you're explaining things to your client, you're bringing that ulterior conflict, or that ulterior this one, to a complementary, ulterior transaction to a complementary transaction. So that journey is a part of psychotherapy. You do not have to explain what is ulterior or what is complementary. However, this journey, whatever you're doing over there with your client, listening to the conversation, helping in reframing that conversation with your mother-in-law. So you are first understanding that it's an ulterior conversation, right? Ulterior transaction. So for you, it is important as a psychotherapist to understand what kind of transactions are going on between your clients' relationships. Only then will you be able to shape their conversations. And when you are able to shape their conversations, eventually you will teach them how to have more complementary transactions, or how to convert cross transactions or ulterior transactions into complementary transactions. And that is how we sort the relationship issues. Okay. So, Zainab, thank you for asking that. I think, mm, you will get your answer from the admin over here. Yes, that's correct. Conflict resolution. So thank you, everybody. I'm really happy to have all of you over here. You all have been very interactive. And when you're interacting like that, whatever I teach, it gives me a lot of energy to teach. And it also helps me in creating multiple scenarios for you. Thank you so much. And have a very good evening, everybody. Bye-bye. Good night. You're most welcome.